In Kerala was rocked by 3 blasts in the space of minutes at a prayer convention center in Kalamassery, targeting a Christian sect called the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, before it was known as to who was the perpetrator of this attack, some people rushed to say that this was linked to the ongoing Israel-Hamas war, and this was because of the permissive environment in Kerala by the Pinarayi Vijayan government for radical elements. They also pointed to the video address of former Hamas leader Khalid Mashal that happened at the Jamaat-e-Islami rally in Malappuram just a few days before what happened yesterday. But it turned out that the Kochi attacker was not connected to Israel or Hamas in any form or fashion. He was a disillusioned Jehovah's Witness who was trying to send out a message to that particular sect, to that particular community. So the question that's being asked, and this is a political war of words between the BJP and the CPIM, who is tarnishing God's own country? Is it those who are allegedly offering sanctuary for radicals? Or is it those who are rushing to judgment? But first, the story of how these blasts rocked Kochi.
अभी क्या बताओ, मन में जिस तरह होता है कि एक ब्लैंक सिचुएशन है। ससा तो मिलना चाहिए, ससा तो मिलना पड़ेगा।
എന്നാൽ ഒരു 6 വർഷത്തിന് മുമ്പ് ഞാൻ ചിന്തിച്ചപ്പോൾ ഇത് വളരെ തെറ്റായ ഒരു പ്രസ്ഥാനമാണെന്നും ഇതിലെ പഠിപ്പിക്കലുകൾ വളരെ രാജ്യദ്രോഹപരമാണെന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിയുകയും ഞാനത് തിരുത്തണം എന്ന് അവരോട് പലവട്ടം ആവശ്യപ്പെടുകയും ചെയ്തു.
Pinarayi Vijayan government is soft towards the radical forces, and at the same time the radical forces are on increase and there is silent.
രാജീവ് ചന്ദ്രശേഖറും അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ കൂട്ടാളികളും നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്ത് സ്വീകരിക്കുന്ന നിലപാട് ഈ പാലസ്തീൻ ഐക്യദാർഢ്യം പ്രകടിപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പ്രകടനങ്ങളും മറ്റും നടക്കുമ്പോൾ, അതിൻ്റേതായ പരിപാടികൾ നടക്കുമ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ ഭാഗമായി കേസെടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ നോക്കലാണ്.
Unanimously, with the BJP's presence and participation, they unanimously said this sort of a reaction by a union minister was not correct, wrong, and necessary steps will be undertaken.
All right, so here's what we know about the accused who's now in police custody, Dominic Martin. And as per his own video confession, he went and surrendered to the police. This is what the investigators are telling us, the inside track. At least 5 liters of petrol was used for each bomb. Remember, 3 bombs went off, so at least 15 liters, if not more, of petrol was used. The other one is that jute bags were used to pack the IEDs. Remember, these were remotely controlled, remotely timed, improvised explosive devices. Also, that radio frequency devices were used to trigger these bombs. Sometimes you can use cell phones, you can use wireless, but what investigators are saying is that radio frequency devices were used to be the trigger for these bombs. Also, that these IEDs were covered with cloth and they were kept under chairs which had cloth on top of it, the idea being that maximum fire is caused as a result of these explosions. Also, that the intention of Dominic Martin was to burn down the entire convention center, where for the 3rd day yesterday in a row, these Jehovah's Witnesses were having a prayer ceremony. Now, Martin's motive for the blast, as to who these Jehovah's Witnesses are, it's suddenly come to the fore. This is a very small sect, a very radical sort of sect of evangelical Christians who are there world over, and they are there in Kerala as well. They do have some very oddball practices. For example, they don't sing the national anthem. This was a case that went up all the way to the Supreme Court of India in 1986, and the court said that they were protected under Article 25 for not singing the national anthem, because as per Jehovah's Witnesses, they are only allowed to praise Jehovah and no one or nothing else. Also, they do not hoist the tricolour, the national flag, again protected under Article 25 of the Constitution. They also, unlike other Christians, do not celebrate Christmas or Easter. These are festivals that are associated with the life of Jesus Christ. Jehovah's Witnesses do not believe in these festivals. They think these are pagan traditions. In fact, they do not have any particular affinity for other Christians, Christians of other sects or other denominations. Now, who these Jehovah's Witnesses are, we'll have a full-fledged explainer at the end of the debate. But first, I also want to bring you up to speed with this entire thing has shaken up Kerala, because Kerala hasn't seen something of this sort in the last many years. Multiple devices, powerful devices, IEDs, remote controlled and timed from outside, went off in Cochin. There are some unanswered questions which beg to be asked. Number one, could Dominic Martin have made a remote controlled bomb all by himself? This is sophisticated technology. How could an English tutor have done this on his own? Where did he acquire the material? There were improvised explosive devices. There were firecrackers that were used. I said liters of petrol were also used. How come no one detected this when he procured all of this material? Could Dominic Martin have assembled the bomb, as he claims in this video and as he has allegedly told the police, just by watching internet tutorials, by looking at internet videos of how to make an improvised explosive device? There is CCTV footage of him on the morning of, that is yesterday morning, planting these devices under these chairs. If there is CCTV footage, how come no one saw him? How come no one raised a suspicion? Because this event was going on for the last 3 days. Yesterday was supposed to be the last day of this prayer at that convention center. Now, the most important question, as of right now, 24 hours plus since this happened, the police are convinced that this is a lone wolf attack. At least the evidence seems to suggest that he was the only person involved. But because of these questions that I mentioned before, is it possible that this was just a lone wolf, or were there co-conspirators? Now, this has taken a bit of a political turn, if you will. The BJP has taken on this opportunity to take on the Kerala government of Pinarayi Vijayan. BJP chief JP Nadda, in fact, was in Kerala and he spoke there. He's also tweeted out about it, and that is part of our Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand's tweet of the day.
Hello, Moto.
All right, so the BJP chief has said this. He said this in the speech there in Kerala as well, and now he's put out this as a tweet. The bomb blast in Kerala shows how bad the law and order situation in Kerala has become under successive governments of Congress and left. Terrorism is flourishing. Everyone should condemn the bomb blast in Kerala. Radical forces are continuously raising their heads, and towards the attitude of the Kerala government towards radical forces is quite soft. Congress is also maintaining silence on this. Now, a few days ago, a Hamas leader had addressed a program in Kerala. Surprisingly, the ruling LDF government, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan and the Congress have all maintained silence on this. After all, why this silence regarding terrorism? The BJP demands an independent investigation. The Union Home Ministry is ready to provide all possible help to the Kerala government for this investigation. So that brings us to our debate topic tonight. Is, as the BJP alleges, appeasement by successive governments, left and Congress ruled, is that fueling radicalism? Or are folks like the BJP and its extended affiliates rushing to judgment, rushing to tarnish God's own country? That's our debate topic tonight.
Hello, Moto.
All right, so joining us on the panel this evening, Haibi Eden is Member of Parliament of Ernakulam, Congress MP. Tuin Sinha, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Balchandra Kango is National Secretariat Member of the Communist Party of India. Rahul Ishwar, activist and author, now joining us. Haibi Eden, let me start with you first, because the allegation, and you've seen this, this is sort of political back and forth that's been happening, particularly between the BJP and the Pinarayi Vijayan government. The BJP accusing the Marxist government there of being soft on radicals. You saw the tweet and the bites of Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar. Mr. JP Nadda was also campaigning today in Kerala. He also made this point that the soft attitude of successive Congress and left governments has led to increase of radicalism in Kerala. How do you respond to that?
As you know, the BJP, especially a very responsible minister in the government of India, within hours of the incident tweeted about Hamas, which was quite unfortunate, and terror attacks, which actually had nothing to do with that. You have to actually understand that this community of Jehovah Sakshi is a very peace-loving community. They have their ideology, and in a country like India, they have the freedom to preach their religion. And they're very disciplined, as I understand. But within hours of the incident, and when all of our priorities, people's representative like us, were right there from the very first hour to make sure that the medical facility is provided, to save as much as life as possible, and to console the relatives and the fellow beings who were a part of the gathering. Yeah, there are being a person from the opposition party in Kerala, the Indian National Congress. I can also say that the intelligence had a huge failure.
Yes.
There were a couple of incidents few months back also. But this is a time where you shouldn't take political advantage of the situation, but to make sure that everybody is at peace, and everybody involved in the attack, the blast, are taken care of into custody. Even if it is a part of conspiracy, or even if whoever is related, whichever religious organization, whichever people under any religion banner, name or fame is there, should be taken into
So let me ask
serious
Tuhin
custody.
Sinha this. This is the counter charge from both the Congress as well as, of course, the Marxists. The Chief Minister spoke today that even before the police had come to any kind of conclusion, even as this, this blast had happened and people were coming to terms with what had happened, and there was very preliminary information coming in, how is it that BJP folks and extended Sangh Parivar folks, including, he pointed the example of Rajiv Chandrasekhar coming out and saying that this is because of radicalism, and it turns out this has nothing to do with radicalism, or this has nothing to do with Israel and Hamas. This is a disillusioned member of this very same community, Jehovah's Witnesses. So are you rushing to judgment to tarnish the image of Kerala just because you don't like it?
Well, good evening, Zaka. Good evening, everybody. If anybody has tarnished the image of Kerala, it is those Congress MPs and Communist MPs who have been silent spectators to the radicalization that has been unfolding over the last 2 decades. Irrespective of who was behind the blast yesterday, fact is that Kerala is sitting on a volcano which is about to erupt anytime. You know, a volcano caused by unbridled radicalization across the last 2 decades. On 26 July, in Mannapuram, the IUML had taken out a huge procession where they openly called for slaughter of Hindus. Did any MP, Congress MP or CPIM MP of the Congress party protest that? And this happened barely weeks after Rahul Gandhi went abroad, where he certified the IUML as a perfectly secular party. There are several other incidents. Has Shashi Tharoor ever spoken about love jihad? When Kerala story was released, he said, that's your story, that's not ours. So what is your story? You need to tell us, because love jihad is something which has been red flagged by the High Court in Kerala way back in 2009. And it has existed since then, while both the parties, in fact, we, Achyutanandan, a CPIM Chief Minister, had first spoken about the devious designs of PFI in 2010.
No, Tuhin, all of this may be right, but the point is, what has any of this got to do with what happened yesterday in Kochi?
No, like I mentioned, irrespective of what investigation happens, I can tell you many other episodes. We need to remain vigilant about what is happening in Kerala. We were lucky if radicalized elements, the Islamists are not behind yesterday's blast. We are lucky, but it's about a matter of time. In Kozhikode in April, they tried to burn a few bogies of a train, and had that happened, God forbid, what would have been the number of casualties? So we need to remain vigilant, and the least that I expect from both Congress and CPIM, that they should speak out against this radicalization, not be a mute spectator.
Okay, so I'll ask Rahul Ishwar, and then after that Mr. Kango of the CPI. Rahul Ishwar, you are from Kerala. There are these competing narratives. The BJP is saying it's a tinderbox. You heard from what Tuhin Sinha said. There is appeasement happening. That's why radicals are getting a free run. The Marxists, on the other hand, say Kerala is this picture of communal harmony. The BJP and its affiliates want to tarnish that image. They want to break that communal harmony. That's why they are rushing to judgment like they did yesterday. Which of these two narratives is actually the reality of Kerala society?
Truth lies always somewhere in the middle. There are shades of it. For example, I would like to place on record as a Hindu right-wing activist my apologies to the Muslim community, because I also jumped the gun. I also thought it was the Muslim community and the radical Islamists behind it, especially the day before a condemnable incident called allowing a Hamas leader to speak, even though online, had happened. I think that's a no-no, and they are crossing a line. So we all assumed at first it was a reaction to it, or it was because of that. Yes, later we all corrected. We understood it was not the case, and Dominic Martin, is more of the other side, from the other end of the spectrum, a far right or any other kind of person you can call. I am also a moderate right-winger, but at the same time there are far left and far right people. That's everywhere. So that's one spectrum. Second, yes, Kerala is a heaven of pluralism. At the same point of time, there has been instances of radical conversionism, forced conversion, and even the present Chief Minister, Sri Pinarayi Vijayan, went on to say that 109 people from Kerala went to ISIS and joined for various reasons. So there is an issue of Islamist radicalism that's happening in Kerala. We shouldn't close our eyes. Even though we need not exaggerate it, there is a reality. Like rightly pointed out by Tuhinji, B.S. Achudanandan ji has said it, Sri Pinarayi Vijayan has pointed out, Sri Ummanchandy sir on the floor of the house has given the number of forced conversions that happen. So these are multiple competing realities in Kerala itself. At the same point of time, Kerala is a great space where Hindus, Muslims and Christians live together very happily. So we have to take case by case. In this particular case, we have to be very precise that this particular person called Martin is a disgruntled Jehovah Witness person itself. He committed all this, but we all misunderstood at first that it was the handwork of some Islamist radicals connected to Hamas. So it's a natural misunderstanding that may have happened. Okay. That doesn't discount anything else, but there are complex realities we need to see beyond politics so that we can have a solution to all this.
Mr. Balchandra Gangu, the point that Rahul made, the largest number of ISIS terrorists from India, people who went to places like Syria and Afghanistan to join the ranks of ISIS, came from Kerala, right? Similarly, the maximum number of PFI activists, and PFI is now a banned organization, they came from Kerala. So the point that the BJP and even folks like Rahul Ishwar are making is that while Kerala might be a picture of communal harmony, it is also, there is also this side of it being a tinderbox, and it is being encouraged by both Congress and left, including that incident that Tuhin referred to about that April incident where this train, there could have been a massive attack on that train. I think there was an RPF personnel or one of the fellow travelers whose alertness actually saved the day for many hundreds of those travelers in that train. But it could have gone the other way too. So why is, whether it is Marxist government in power, whether it is Congress government in power, and successively these two parties have ruled the state, why are you in denial that there is a problem of radicalization? Otherwise, what explains the maximum number of ISIS fellows coming from Kerala?
So let me first of all come to an issue that is prevailing all over the world today. We are talking about Palestine and Israel. Palestine and Israel for a long time was never an issue between the religions. But unfortunately, now it has become a religious issue all over the world. Why? Because of the trend that has become very radicalization of all the religions, majoritarian religion. In Kerala, we had seen Ayyappa temple and its issue of women entry becoming a major issue. Who made that major issue? Who created a problem? It was BJP and its allies who created the problems. So, let us not blame this place or that place. The problem is radicalization is taking place when the economic issues cannot be resolved by the parties concerned. The system has failed. The system is unable to resolve the issues, and therefore they are trying to create problems for the people who do not believe in converting all issues into issues of religion. See, Islam came in Kerala in 7th century and Christianity came in Kerala in 2nd century. So for thousands of years, people have been staying with peaceful intentions and peaceful, and therefore Kerala is the most developed and progressive
state today on all the human development indices.
No, sir, but
Its
Mr.
performance
Kangu,
in
what
Corona
is any
was
of that,
beyond doubt
Mr.
the
Kangu,
best.
what is
No,
any
no,
of
that's
that?
what I'm telling.
No, hear me, 10 seconds. What does any of that have to do with giving a platform to Khalid Mashal, a Hamas leader, addressing a rally of the Jamaat-e-Islami? And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this, but some years ago there was an informal political understanding in North Kerala between CPIM and the Jamaat-e-Islami, right? So this organization is giving a platform to a terrorist leader. Why? Why is he being given such a platform?
What is the central government doing? Central government agencies are very active in targeting the people. Why central government is not arresting anyone for supporting a terrorist? Has central government declared Hamas as a terrorist organization? That is what I want to ask. And if they have declared, why don't they arrest the people there? Because in Kerala, not only in Kerala, all over India, federalism is given a bye-bye by the government. The central agencies attack anyone at any night and any time.
So, Tuhin, respond.
So
two questions. If you had so much of a problem with Hamas, A, you should have banned Hamas, called it a proscribed organization like you have done with Al-Qaeda and Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, etc.
Yes.
You have not done that, number one. And number two, I believe, the Chief Minister also made that point. This was a virtual recorded address. If this person was going to physically come and address the rally, then the police permission needs to be sought. But to play out a virtually recorded address, you don't need any police permission.
Well, I'll answer both the things. Number one, when it comes to designating a certain organization as a terror organization, we follow the UN Convention, where normally, till such time, the organization has directly affected the country or directly attacked the country, we normally don't. But that does not really matter, because we were the first country to condemn the 7th October attack as an act of terror, which unfortunately even till date the Congress party has not had the spine to call. Even today in Sonia Gandhi's letter, what does she refer to? She casually refers to as attack, where her entire letter is an anti-Israel tirade. The second part of your question, sorry, what was the second
part of the question was what the Chief Minister said today, that this was a recorded virtual address. If a person is physically addressing, then they have to seek police permission. In this case, they didn't need to seek any police permission.
It is not about a police permission. The very fact that they think it cool to hobnob with a Hamas terrorist, I think that should raise severe moral questions. The kind of depraved society that would, that would glorify Hamas terrorists, I think that is the dangerous point over here.
Let Haibi respond to that. Haibi, you're an elected representative as well. You have seen, this platform that was given to the Hamas leader, the former Hamas leader. What people like Tuhin, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, etc. is asking is, why are you giving such a platform? Most countries in the world, most democracies, would not give a platform to the leader of a terrorist organization. Why are you doing that? And that too in the aftermath of the worst attacks that we've seen in Israel. More than 1,000 Israelis have died. Haibi Eden.
You have a huge history of India. You have a huge history of Kerala. But this is not the time where we have to get into a post-mortem ceremony. We are at a juncture where the state government, the people's representatives, the fellow beings should give confidence and courage to the people who have passed away, to the families, to the relatives, to give them the best of the best treatment, to make sure that more lives are not lost, to make sure that they are kept at harmony. You should understand, with these kind of statements, the religious conflict would increase. There would be a degree of suspicion amongst the fellow beings. There would be a chaotic situation in a state like Kerala. And we are all here as responsible people to make sure that such a situation doesn't arise in God's own country. That is how a constitutionally derived position like a minister in the cabinet should act and respond very, very seriously and responsibly. But unfortunately, in this particular incident, I'm talking about this particular incident.
Okay.
They might be vouching for the Kerala story. It is not the story of Kerala. We don't agree with the story of Kerala, which came as a movie. Even the Prime Minister, Honorable Sri Narendra Modi, vouched for. We are not for that movie. So Kerala has a huge history of religious harmony, and people who are trying to break that harmony is seriously the BJP to take a political advantage. But unfortunately, as usual, they have failed miserably in doing that.
So Rahul, again, the position like what HIB has taken and what the CPM party has taken is that, you know, BJP is rushing to tarnish the image of Kerala, not just what happened at the Kalamassery Convention Centre yesterday, the bomb blast, where there was a rushing to judgment without knowing fully the facts of the case, but also in this Kerala story example that HIB gave. What happened in that case was the makers of the film ran this sensational trailer saying 32,000 girls have been forcibly converted and have, you know, been forcibly sent to fight ISIS and so on. And then the matter went to court, and they said that they will drop that part of the trailer. So, what the point that folks both in the Congress and the CPM are making, Rahul, is that this is part of a design by the BJP and its affiliate organizations to try and tarnish the image of God's own country. Yesterday was one example, Kerala story is another example.
Zaka, I'm a proud Keralite and a proud Indian, and I'm a right-winger too. No, I agree with HIB's sentiments that Kerala has been a great heaven of secularism and unity, pluralism. All that is good. But just like Tuhin said, when you don't call out terrorist attack, how does it mean to add to our pluralism? See, what happened on October 7th, rightly said by Modi ji, and even a global person like Shashi Tharoor, a cosmopolitan like Shashi Tharoor, was a terrorist attack. Why do we shy away from calling it a terrorist attack? 1,400 people were butchered, 200 people were kidnapped, Israeli people were, raped and killed. Nobody agrees with the excess of Israel. They also have hawkish policies. And India has always been traditionally balancing between Israel and Palestine. And in the conflict of civilization, India can emerge as the consensus of civilization. So India has a very pivotal role, I believe, in doing that. So we have to maintain a sense of balance. And Congo sir, one more thing regarding Shabarimala protest, Saka may remember, I was the person and our family was the person who initiated the protest. It has nothing to do with politics. Thankfully, Pujaniya Sarsang Chalak and Modi ji and others, including Congress party, supported it. So you need not blame everything RSS and BJP. It has become a standard template. Blame RSS, blame BJP, then everything is secular. It's kind of a very wrong statement. Please remember two things. One, Hamas leader is a no-no. Hamas is not equal to Palestine and Palestine is not equal to Hamas. We all stand with Palestinian kids, but Hamas is a no-go area. Second, what happened yesterday was a person like Dominic Martin doing. We need not blame our Muslim brothers and sisters for it. And if somebody has felt that they are wrongly blamed, it is up to us that we should apologize to them, that we are sorry for it. And it only increases our moral stature when we say sorry about such a wrongful accusation.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Let's see how this story plays out. Dominic Martin will have to be produced in court tomorrow, and we will get further details from the police as to whether he managed to pull this off on his own or whether there were co-conspirators, what the modus operandi was, what his motives were. Right now, what we have is the confessional video in which he says he wanted to teach a lesson to his fellow Jehovah Witnesses. Let me now go across to another guest who is joining us on this very topic. CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechury is now joining us on Brass Tacks. The unfortunate incident, Mr. Yechury, about what happened in Kalamassery, we've been discussing that. 3 people have now lost their lives, more than 50 injured. It appears, at least on the face of it, the act of a lone wolf who seemed like an estranged, disillusioned member of this particular sect of the Christian faith. But the BJP has made this an issue, saying whether it was what happened yesterday in Kochi, whether it was giving a platform to this Hamas leader, all of this is happening in Kerala under the Marxist Party rule, under Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, because you've given safe sanctuary to such radical elements. How do you respond to that?
That's all absolutely ridiculous. Yesterday, before they found out who it could be, that one of the same ones of the same faith of the Jehovah Witnesses, they said that this was the handiwork of Islamic militants. And they went on saying that now you understand the Kerala story, how authentic that film was. From 32,000 ISI jihadis, that actual reality was brought down to 3 when the issue went to the courts. And then this sort of a propaganda is exactly what the BJP lives on. That is their staple diet. I mean, that has nothing to do with reality. This was something, and the person who has been arrested himself has given his own statement. That is there for all to see. And today there was an all-party meeting that was held in Kerala, in Thiruvananthapuram, and the BJP was present, and they in fact came out very critical against the Union Cabinet Minister who made a similar allegation. And I'm sure that there will be some legal proceedings that will follow.
When you mean legal proceedings, what are you suggesting? Will the state government there or your party there, will you consider, taking this matter to court, taking Mr. Chandrasekhar to court? What do you mean by there will be some legal proceeding?
Well, I mean, I'm saying there are possibilities. I don't know what exactly they decided in the all-party meeting, but it was decided in the presence of the BJP. That this sort of a reaction that came out, even including the Union Cabinet Minister's reaction, they were highly critical of it. And from what I hear, they will proceed on the basis of these sort of statements that were made by the Union Cabinet Minister. And how they'll proceed is for them to decide.
But the BJP, whether it is the minister that you referred to or even JP Nadda was there today, they are pointing to what happened a couple of days before that, where in Malappuram there was a rally, and that rally was addressed virtually by former Hamas leader Khalid Mashal. He was given a platform. They are asking, at a time when the government of India is standing with Israel, is siding with innocent Israeli citizens who were victims of the terror attack on October 7th, why are you giving a platform to a Hamas leader like Khalid Mashal? What is the justification for that? What would you say in response to that?
You ask them, yeah? Why are you asking me? It was an online meeting. If it was a physical meeting and why they was allowed to come there, that maybe there was some sense in asking the Kerala government. It was an online meeting, so an online meeting, the lines are on, so somebody came. So you ask the organizers. Anyway, the point at issue is right now 3 weeks have gone by after that attack in the south of Israel. And for the 3 weeks, there's only been pounding and a genocidal war that has been unleashed by Israel. What are we saying on it? The government of India abstains on a vote calling for a ceasefire in the United Nations General Assembly and for a humanitarian pause. I mean, it's a humanitarian issue now. That's what the whole world is reacting to. Asking for an immediate ceasefire, humanitarian aid, and a political solution of a UN-mandated two-state solution. Now, what is the issue currently?
Okay.
8,000 people dead, 4,000 plus are children. What is the issue?
No, but the explanation of that vote,
humanitarian considerations.
The explanation of that vote has been provided by the Foreign Minister, Mr. Jaishankar. The rationale for that vote, where he said that it can't be that when a terrorist attacks India, then India cries hoarse about it. But when a terrorist attacks Israel or any other country for that matter, we take a different position. Do you buy that justification?
There is terrorism, individual terrorism that needs to be condemned, and there is state terrorism, which also needs to be condemned. We can't condemn one and not condemn the other. When Mrs. Indira Gandhi was assassinated by 2 Sikh guards, and when the Sikhs were indiscriminately attacked all over the country, particularly in Delhi, when we were there on the ground trying to save them, was this the correct thing? Are you justifying it like you are now justifying what Israel is doing?
Okay, Mr. Sitaram Yashari, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how the story plays out politically also in Kerala between the left and the BJP. As we move into the latter half of the show, I want to take a deep dive into this sect, this little known sect called Jehovah's Witnesses. They are an evangelical cult within the Christian faith. They do not believe in what the Christians call the Trinity, which is that God is in 3 equal parts, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. They also have very oddball characteristics. They don't stand up or sing for the national anthem. They're not allowed to praise any worldly being. They believe that the end of the world is near, and when it happens, all 7 billion, 8 billion people will die except 144,000, which includes all of the Jehovah's Witnesses. These are all very, very radical ideas that this tiny minority of within the Christian faith believes in. And mind you, they're not just present in Kerala, they're present all over the world. So here's a deep dive into who these Jehovah's Witnesses are, why they have these oddball characteristics, and how this has now been brought into sharp focus after what happened in Kochi yesterday. Dominic Martin, an estranged member of Jehovah's Witnesses, has taken responsibility for the killing of 3 people and injuring more than 50 at a convention prayer center in Kalamassery, Kochi. Martin, a member of the evangelical Christian group Jehovah's Witnesses, is now in police custody, but he had posted a video on social media taking responsibility for this act. After which he surrendered to the police. In the video, he's heard saying how he had been a member of Jehovah's Witnesses for the last 16 years. At some point, he realized that their stand is anti-national. He wanted them to rectify it, but they were not ready to do so. He also alleged in that video that this is a wrong ideology and that they were injecting poison into the brains of children, saying that they should not even take sweets from strangers. They are asked not to sing the national anthem or join the defense services. They teach that all people of the world would perish and only they will live, that the entire human race will be extinct except 144,000 Jehovah's Witnesses along with Jesus Christ in his second coming. So there's a lot of interest around who these Jehovah's Witnesses are. What is this Christian cult? The Jehovah's Witnesses are a Christian sect, but they do not believe in the Holy Trinity, which is the doctrine which says that God exists in 3 equal forms, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. They only worship Jehovah as the one true and almighty God, the Creator. They believe that Jesus Christ is the King of God's kingdom in heaven, but not as the Almighty God or even as the Son of God, which is what most Christians believe. They base their beliefs, the Jehovah's Witnesses, only on the text of the Bible, which they see as the Word of God. They do not, for example, celebrate Christmas or Easter because they believe such festivals are inspired by pagan traditions. And these festivals have to do with the life of Christ, his birth and his resurrection, none of which Jehovah's Witnesses believe in. Jehovah's Witnesses are known for their evangelical work, for which they go door to door to spread what they call the truth. They believe the end of the world is near and that the kingdom of God will replace all humans. And when this happens, they believe only 144,000 chosen ones, along with Jesus Christ, will live, while the rest of humanity will perish. The denomination has millions of followers worldwide. In fact, the origins of this cult lie in a Bible student movement which was started in the 1870s by an American pastor by name Charles Taze Russell. Today, the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses is located in New York. The main body to disseminate the doctrines of this sect is called the Watchtower Bible and the Tract Society of Pennsylvania, both of which are also based in New York. Jehovah's Witnesses in India, now according to their global website jw.org, India has about 56,000 JW ministers who teach the Bible. Jehovah's Witnesses have been present in India since the early 1900s. They established an office in 1926 in Bombay and obtained legal registration in 1978. The cult benefits from the guarantees of India's constitution, which include the right to practice, profess and propagate one's faith. Now, a landmark case involving this sect here in India was the Bijo Emmanuel versus State of Kerala case. The Supreme Court back in 1986 had granted protection to 3 children belonging to the Jehovah's Witnesses who did not join in the singing of the national anthem at their school. The court had held that forcing these children to sing the anthem violated their fundamental right to religion under Article 25 of the Constitution. These children, who were siblings, Bijo Emmanuel, after whom the case is named, Binu and Bindu, were students of classes 10, 9 and 5 respectively and were expelled from their school, the NSS High School run by the Hindu organization, the Nair Service Society. This was back in July of 1985. Bijo's parents pleaded unsuccessfully before the Kerala High Court that Jehovah's Witnesses were permitted the worship of only Jehovah, and since the anthem was a prayer, these children could stand up in respect for the anthem, but they could not sing along. The Supreme Court in that case ruled that Article 25 was incorporated in recognition of the principle that the real test of a true democracy is the ability of even an insignificant minority to find its identity under the Constitution. The Jehovah's Witnesses website mentions that their members in India have at times been accused of trying to convert people forcibly because of their evangelical work. Another case involving this particular cult hit the headlines in 2020. That's when a private hospital in Bengaluru claimed it had successfully performed a live liver transplant on a Jehovah's Witness who was from Nigeria. And on this patient, they did the transplant by not using blood or any blood-related products. Remember, JWs do not believe in blood transfusion. They don't believe in donating blood to somebody who is in need of it or receiving blood from another donor. In order to protect the patient's religious beliefs, in this case in Bengaluru, it sort of hit the headlines when this particular hospital claimed that they managed to do a liver transplant without any blood transfusion whatsoever. But if you go back to the Bijo Emmanuel ruling of the Supreme Court, in that ruling, Justice Chinnappa Reddy, who was one of the judges, he noted that Jehovah's Witnesses and their peculiar beliefs were not really noticeable in India. The ruling quoted from the Encyclopedia Britannica as well as judicial pronouncements in Australia and other countries to try and trace the beliefs and practices of this community. Now, Dominic Martin's case has raised a very fundamental question. Should people who live and work and are citizens of India, should they get an exception for not singing the national anthem, for not joining the army or the defense forces, all in the name of protection of their religious beliefs? Will such exceptions be once again put to the test of law in the event that India moves towards and adopts a uniform civil code? JW are back in the crosshairs thanks to this one tragic act by one of their own.